Well, it's another 2 weeks and it's been Brexit again, unfortunately, but I'm not going to talk at length about Brexit. Suffice to say that we are now in limbo again until we have a vote on St Valentine's Day. I have no idea whether the Prime Minister will manage to get any concessions from the European Union. I would personally be very surprised because they've been very categoric that the withdrawal agreement will not be reopened, but we shall have to wait and see. The downside of all the waiting for a decision on Brexit is that it appears that the February recess has been cancelled. Now, I know that the Daily Mail was up in arms this morning saying that MPs were complaining about this because they wanted to go skiing. Well, all I can say is, despite the weather in Snowdonia at the moment, I have no intention of going skiing, neither now or during recess week. And indeed, I would go further to say that the only thing that will happen as a result of the recess week being cancelled is that I will have to unfortunately cancel all the surgeries that I had arranged for the constituency for that week, and I'm pretty disappointed by that. I'm even more disappointed by the fact that we are, for political purposes, allegedly in need of the time to legislate during the February recess, and yet next week I haven't got a single significant piece of legislation in front of me in Parliament. So suffice to say, I'm very disappointed that I have to cancel what I would have been doing in the constituency during the recess week, but I'm sure that most of you will understand that I had very little choice apart from being in London in view of the change that has been made. Today has been another busy day in the office. I was very fortunate this morning to be briefed by Dewis Cymru, who are responsible for the Dementia Bus, who are highlighting some of the work that they do in the constituency. In particular, they're working in Llanrefechan, Penmawr, Dwygyfylchi, Llanrwst, and also in Betws y Coed at the moment. And they have a number of events that we will be publicising on our website. I'll be highlighting some of these on the website in due course, but it appears to me that they're making a significant effort to try and ensure that some of those problems that can become medical problems for people are addressed at an early stage. So ensuring that people have company, that people have opportunities to engage with their neighbours, making sure that people have an opportunity to get involved in fitness classes and so forth. This is all positive local work being facilitated through a Welsh Government's grant, and I personally hope that they are very successful. There's no doubt that the team appear to be very committed, and I wish them all the best. I've also been involved today in proper surgeries. I know I do a surgery every Friday, but today I had to go to meet some of the managers and GPs running our local surgeries because they have highlighted to me a significant problem in terms of changes to legislation affecting the release of your personal information. GDPR regulations are complicated. They are all about who owns the information that is kept on file about you. I think the legislation was passed with good intent. I think the aim was to try and ensure that people knew that they had the right to this information. However, as with all legislation, there's always an unintended consequence. And what we're now seeing is that when a request is made for somebody's patient files to be passed on to the police or passed on to a firm of solicitors, the poor doctor's surgery have to go through the record, sometimes hundreds of pages long in terms of medical records. They have to redact all sensitive information about other interested parties from those records. They then have to send those records on to the people who are requesting them. And the total cost can often be, just for the postage and photocopying, well in excess of £50. And on top of all of that, before the records are actually transferred, the GP has to actually authorise that transfer, which means that a GP will typically spend about 2 hours of time going through the records to make sure that nothing which is being passed on is of a sensitive nature. Quite clearly, this is having an impact. It's having a cost impact. One surgery said to me that they are on track to receive 100 such requests, and 100 requests means 200 hours of GP time. That's equivalent to 5 weeks worth of work for a GP. So I'll be undoubtedly taking this up with the relevant ministers, and I will keep you posted as to how that develops. I'm also heading off this evening to a meeting in Deganwy to talk about the crossing. I'm being supported by Mike Priestley and some of the community at that meeting. If you're around, you're more than welcome to come along. We are challenging the closure of a crossing in Deganwy over the railway line. Whether we'll be successful remains to be seen, but it's undoubtedly an issue which has been very important for many of my constituents. And finally, on a brighter note, one of the organisations that I'm proud to support in Westminster are guide dogs, and they have sent me their latest 2019 calendar. It's a bit late, but it's undoubtedly going to have pride of place on my wall here. It's a fantastic charity doing really good work. They are very pleased with North Wales, by the way, because they were very pleased with the fact that Arriva buses running the services along the North Wales coast were one of the first bus companies outside of the main cities to put spoken announcements before every stop, which is really appreciated by those who are being guided by a guide dog as they make their way across the constituency. So they're very pleased with North Wales, I'm very pleased with them, and I'm very pleased to have this to put up on my wall. Diolch yn fawr, thank you.